Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? I've been really checking out different news articles at different websites talking about the Prime Minister Al-Sadini. He appears to be the real deal. He seems like a no-nonsense type of leader already, making all kinds of interesting moves, both internally and externally, from Iraq. He appears to be doing what it takes to put Iraq back on track and make a move for the Iraqi people. At least that's what it appears. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, go to our friends over at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get an additional ½ ounce of silver. Buy it now because premiums are going up and we're starting to run into shortages around the nation. Okay, let me show you what I'm talking about. First, we see here Al-Sadini and Gait affirm Iraq's active role in supporting the stability of the region. So the Prime Minister Al-Sadini received today a phone call from the Secretary General of the League of Arabs. According to the statement from the office, the call witnessed discussions of the latest developments on the Arab arena and the results and decisions of the last Arab summit held in Algeria. The active and vital role of Iraq in support and stability in the region was also emphasized. Now, I'm noticing a lot of countries are saying that Iraq is the key to the stability within the Arab nations. I think Iraq has a much bigger role in the Middle East than most people realize. But with all of these responsibilities and Iraq chosen as one of the leaders to help with stability in the nation, this to me, in my opinion, says a whole lot about where Iraq is right now with the international community. Now, I'm sure mostly what they're talking about is just get your government and your people under control is the first major step of what they want done. Under Al-Sadini, it seems to have been heading in the right direction. So far, it appears that Al-Sadini is doing the same thing, and they are sticking to the reform. Al-Sadini visits the hospital and directs to punish the absent and hold the defaulters accountable. Yikes. So Al-Sadini went to the hospital. It was, I believe, an unannounced visit. Said Al-Sadini was briefed on the hospital's halls, the reality of the services provided there, and the level of abundance of medicines and medical supplies. He also met with the medical and service personnel, inspected a number of inpatients, and listened to the patients and auditors' complaints about the service provided. The Prime Minister was briefed on the shift schedule for working medical and health cadres and met with those present among them. So was this unannounced visit because there was tons of complaints about the treatment of patients there? Were there a lot of people who were not showing up to work when they should have? I just thought the headline was pretty interesting that it said directs to punish the absent and hold the defaulters accountable. I mean, this is a good thing for a leader to come in and show the citizens that he means business. He's going to do what it takes to help out the Iraqi people. It's a small thing, but I thought it was catchy. Right here it says Al-Sadini began the first procedures to activate the Iraqi private sectors. Look, he's doing what he can to get this economy on track. Now, I know they're supposed to have, what is the 8th largest economy? The 3rd best in Arab nations? But can you imagine how much better it would be if it didn't have that 1-year delay and you had a less corrupt government in there? I was hoping for Al-Sadini to continue his work, but so far, I'll admit that Al-Sadini appears to be doing the right thing. And the fact that he is so far rejecting involving Maliki in his government appears, again, to be a good step. But that does not mean that behind the scenes Maliki isn't running things. I just keep watching for the actions of Al-Sadini to see what he's doing in Iraq and what he's doing for the Iraqi people. So the head of the integrity accused parties of spitting says the Iraqi Prime Minister Al-Sadini announced his government's intentions to end wrong practices that represent an obstacle to the development of the economic sector in the country indicating that the first step in this field is to involve the private sectors. Al-Sadini said during his meeting with a number of businessmen, investors, and owners of projects in the private sector projects must be consistent with the nature of economic challenges and the needs faced by citizens. According to the statement from the media, Al-Sadini discussed with the businessmen and investors the national economic reality, prospects for the private sector's work, its contributions to expanding job opportunities and development, and the most important obstacle and challenges it faces. So yeah, you definitely need to get these private sectors and public sectors going, because we're talking about job opportunities, especially for the youth over there in Iraq who are very unhappy. They have somewhere around a 14% unemployment rate, which is really high. During the meeting, Al-Sadini stressed the government's determination to end wrong practices that represent an obstacle to the development of this vital economic sector, expressing the convictions that the state's economic path cannot be corrected unless the private sector is an essential partner in this correction and reform. The opportunity will be available and supported by the government to enter into constructive partnerships with the national sector, which is highly relied upon to reduce unemployment and provide sustainable national development that contributes to ensuring stability and social peace, stressing that the projects will be subject to fair competition on the basis of the principle of equal opportunities away from monopoly, which would be good. That's definitely a step in the opposite direction of what they normally do, which is run things in a corrupt way. But that remains to be seen. Again, Al-Sadini appears to be reaching out to those who can make job opportunities available to the Iraqi people. A great move so far. So Al-Sadini had announced during his meeting that the experimentation is no longer possible and the next opportunity to work is the last opportunity and it must succeed, considering that the age of current government depends on what it can do. Yeah, that's how it should be. Look, if your government is not producing for you, if your government is not protecting your rights, if your government is passing legislation that is hurting the American people instead of benefiting it, then, you need to do something about that. So the government's opportunity to succeed relies on what it is the government can do. It presents achievements to the citizens so that they are truly tangible, stressing that opportunities for success are available, the first of which is financial abundance and political and security stability. Yeah, I'd say so. Like I said, if this isn't all fluff and Al-Sadini could pull this off, then it was a good transfer of power from Al-Kadhimi over to Al-Sadini. Al-Sadini went on to say the government's direction and its continuation in efforts to combat corruption, recover looted Iraqi funds, and those wanted in integrity cases. This file is given priority in the ministerial curriculum. Well, this is when things will start to get interesting because we know that Maliki and some of his coordinating framework buddies are part of these corruption cases. So does Al-Sadini have the cojones to go in there and go after his own people? That's when he would be the real deal. So anyways, the person that was in charge of the integrity department, he resigns. In his resignation letter, the head of the integrity department stressed how anybody who takes that job is constantly under attack by those in the media and by those who they are actively investigating, and that it's a very dangerous job. Those who are corrupt don't want to be exposed, and they'll go through any measures to make sure that they're not, which is including threatening the lives of the head of the integrity department as well as their family members, and that's not what you want. So you can see right here, it looks to me like this might be a good move for Al-Sadini. He says Parliament and the government agreed to coordinate their work to expedite the approval of the budget and the scientific management of the state. Well, I'm not sure exactly what that means. It says Iraqi Council of Representatives and the Prime Minister agreed on Monday the need to submit the federal budget law for the year 2023 and to rely on the scientific competencies in the state administration, while they stressed the consolidation of the relationship between the legislative and the executive authorities to approve the suspended laws. So the scientific competency. Okay. So in a statement to the media from the first deputy, added that during the meeting it was stressed the need to strengthen coordination between the legislative and executive authorities to pass important laws that affect the lives of citizens and the country's economy, and to activate broken laws, as well as giving the authorities and regulatory agencies a greater role to fulfill their responsibilities in preserving the public money and reducing corruption, as long as they're doing their jobs and not contributing to the corruption. The meeting stressed, according to the statement, the need to expedite the submission and approval of the draft budget law and to rely on scientific competencies in managing the joints of the state to provide tangible results on grounds, achieve economic development, and create new job opportunities, in addition to supporting the industrial and agricultural sectors and encouraging investment to activate the private sectors. So all these are good steps forward for Al-Sudani. Now, this article caught my attention because I had heard rumors that the Biden administration was going to try to circumvent Saudi Arabia by going directly to Iraq for oil production. And that's a no-no because that violates their OPEC agreement. So it says here the Saudi delegation to visit Iraq as soon as possible. So is it possible that the Saudi prince has heard about this and wants to come over and discuss what's going on? So the Iraqi ambassador to Saudi Arabia revealed the intentions of the Saudi delegation to visit Iraq soon. A statement by the Parliamentary Media Department stated that the head of the Foreign Relations Committee received the ambassador at the committee's headquarters and discussed ways to enhance communication and cooperation between Iraq and Saudi Arabia, and to support the effective role of Iraq diplomacy in building and consolidating openness between Iraq and Saudi Arabia. It was expressed the desire and determination of the chairman and the members of the Saudi-Iraqi Brotherhood Committee to visit Iraq as soon as possible, expressing their wishes to strengthen the bonds of brotherhood and love between brothers by activating the role of my brotherhood and friendship committees in various economic, culture, and social fields. The two sides agreed to coordinate and prepare for the visit of the Saudi delegation. Well, that's all good, talking brotherhood and stuff, but I'm sure more than anything else, we know that the Biden administration had boldly stated, since they couldn't get Saudi Arabia to increase oil production, that in Biden's opinion, he said out loud it was time for regime change. This is what happens when you don't do what the United States wants. They'll make up all kinds of crap about you, and then they'll do regime change. We've seen this happen before. So I'm sure that's why the delegation is heading over to Iraq to find out where their heads are with this new government. Does it look like they are indeed going to go ahead and circumvent Saudi Arabia and provide oil to the United States? I don't know if that's true, but I'm waiting to find out what happens. I mean, it's clear that Biden is a puppet. He don't know his hole from a butt in the ground. This is definitely Obama's third term, and this is the type of stunt that Obama would pull. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll see where Iraq plays a role in this issue between the United States and Saudi Arabia, as well as what's going on with oil production. Hopefully they stay out of it and keep the nose clean. We don't want them to get set back because let's say they don't agree with Biden administration. Then Biden could pull some stupid stunt that could affect the progress of Iraq. Anyways, that's it for now. Let me know what you think down below. I look forward to your comments, and I will catch you later. I'm out.